Hello boyos, Rich Boy J here back in with another video, and this is the LEGO Star Wars MOC Showcase Episode 2. This is a weekly series meant to highlight and analyze some of the best builds that I have found on the internet. As always, if you guys really like any of the builds in this video, all I ask is that you support the builder by going to their link in the description and dropping them a like, comment, or even a follow. This first build we're going to take a look at is an ARC 170 by Caleb Ricks. One of my favorite things in the world is when I have a build in the back of my mind that I really want to do at some point because I want a nice, accurate version of a ship, and then someone comes along and does all the hard work for me and does a really good job at it, and that is certainly the case here. Oh my god, Caleb did such an amazing job on this ARC 170. The ARC 170 is easily one of the coolest ships in all of Star Wars. If I was a clone, I would definitely want to be piloting this bad boy, and Caleb does it justice by creating what is just a beautiful model. The one thing that I actually really do appreciate are the engines. The engines are really huge on the ARC 170, and it's actually quite important that you get those down and looking correctly, and he just does a phenomenal job at creating this big round pattern with those dark red curved slopes as well as the white tiles right behind them, and it just looks exactly the way it should. I also do appreciate that diagonal stripe that kind of goes inside of the engines. That's a really good detail that he added in there, and all in all, he just did such a wonderful job at faithfully recreating this ARC 170. One of the other really cool things about it is the Speed Champion's cockpit piece on that top cockpit area. That's actually a really good use for that part. If you view it from the top, you can see that the shaping of the wings are just almost perfect. The big middle wings slant slightly inward going towards the back, and then at the very tips of them they're rounded, which is obviously really important, and then they have a much steeper slant on the reverse side of it. I'm also very impressed that he was able to maintain that gap in the wings going straight from the top one through the middle and all the way to the bottom. I also can always appreciate it when a builder can employ snot techniques on the wings of fighters like these. The ARC 170 in particular has really large wings in that middle section, and while I have not had the build in my hands, I can tell that just from being able to look at it and see these wings not falling apart in this picture, I would imagine that they're actually quite sturdy. So while they do look really nice with that snot design, they are at least strong enough to sit there as a display model. Going back to the shaping of the wings, look at those top wings as well. Those are not easy shapes to build in LEGO. Those are some complex angles, and he seems to have integrated them really well in this MOC. Oh my god, I'm just so impressed. If we take a look closer, you can see that he even included the little small window on the side of the main body of the cockpit. Remember when LEGO tried to do this exact same thing, but instead used a sticker and even put the arm of the minifigure into the sticker that was supposed to represent a window? Yeah, we don't talk about that. It also looks like the wings have the ability to close, which is actually quite important. I think having sit here and talk about this build has really sold me on building one, if not two of these on my own. So if you guys want to build this one, he actually is selling the instructions to it. I'm hoping that this build gets the recognition it deserves and a lot of people start building these for their own collections, because this thing really is beautiful and obviously far superior to the LEGO ARC 170s that we've gotten thus far. These next few builds are by Dayman 1776, and they're actually pretty cool because he's developed a bit of a Skylines series for Star Wars locations, which I actually find very interesting. You can see this first build is a Lethal Skyline, and it's really cool because there's so many recognizable things here. You can see in the middle there's that large dome that ends up attempting to take off, and at the last arc of Rebels you can also see that there's like that main highway that we see a lot of the characters use their speeder bikes to go down, up to that large spire at the very end of it. So I love this build in particular, but if we go to the next set of pictures, you can see that he actually has built quite a few of these Skylines. The one that really sticks out to me is that Scarif one. Oh my god, that Citadel sitting there with the two cargo crates and transports on either side of it, I think looks really cool. The Mustafar one is also one that sticks out to me. It is pretty cool that he included what we really recognize from the prequels from Mustafar, but then also there's Vader's castle sitting right next to it. Over to the far right, you can see he also has a Camino build, which actually looks really nice, and I think that Slave 1 build is so cute. There's also a Coruscant build. To the far left, you can see the Jedi Temple, as well as the Senate building and various other buildings on Coruscant. And then finally, on the back left, you can see he has a build of Jeddah with a large Star Destroyer looming over Jeddah City. I put these builds in this video to really bring up a talking point, and that is, do you think that a Star Wars Skyline series is viable for LEGO to create? I know a lot of people would probably get a little bit irritated with it. They seem to not like any sets that detract from the main builds and ships and locations that we get, but this is something that I actually would not mind too much. This for me would mean a lot to me in my collection over something like a Brickhead. Seeing his builds makes me realize just how recognizable various Star Wars locations are, and and I honestly wouldn't mind having a bunch of these like on my desk or even just lined up on a shelf. It's a cool way to look at Star Wars planets from a pulled back far perspective, but still get all of the little details in there that can just take you right to the scene or planet that we see in the movie. So let me know what you guys think about this. Do you think this would actually be a cool thing for Lego to put out? This next build is the Battle of Dennaskar by Darth Bjorn. I did a bit of research and I found out that this location appears in, I believe, in older Star Wars comics, so that I guess is inspiration for this build. But this is one of those builds that are, you know, it's relatively small, but there is literally just so much to talk about because of the detail and the various building techniques that he uses on this MOC. One of the first things I noticed when looking at this is just how good the rain effect looks on this picture. I think that actually adds quite a bit to the aesthetic of the MOC, as well as those laser effects. I think both of those just combine to add a lot to this picture. You can see on the right side he has one of Another Goal's ATSD builds on there. Those things are amazing. I'm actually using one of those on my Vardos MOC, so I definitely give that choice of an ATSD 2 thumbs up. One of the things I actually love about this MOC is minifig placement. Placing minifigures on a Star Wars battle scene in a natural and logical way is actually not that easy of a thing to do. A lot of people can often get carried away and try to load in as many of their figures as possible on these MOCs, but to show a little bit of restraint is what I feel a testament to a disciplined builder. My eyes are instantly drawn to the Twi'lek popping out of that bunker at the top left section, and I don't know, I feel like that's just such a cool scene to implement. The Twi'leks are always really nice looking minifigures, especially it looks like he's using the headpiece and arm pieces from that most recent Ayla Secura figure, and I don't know, that light blue just really pops, so I think that's a great addition of a minifigure there. But you can also see he just has various other rebels kind of behind that barricade defending their bunker, I presume. I can appreciate the usage of various rebel torsos and hands that we've gotten over the past few years to really differentiate and make these guys all look unique. Rebels are always supposed to look like a ragtag group of warriors, and I think he does a good job at conveying that here. Also really do like that satellite build that is being supported by those 3 wires coming out from the top of it. I don't know, that's just, I feel like that's something that you rarely see in Star Wars builds, but here it looks really nice. I like the usage of those string pieces. If you look into the forest, you can see he has various pieces of wood logs being chained up, and that's not really an important part to the MOC, but it's such a nice and recognizable detail that I feel actually adds quite a bit to the MOC. These small tree builds are actually quite nice. You can see that he's using what is, I guess, the brown bar piece with the anti-stud at the bottom of it, and then he like reverses the stalled pieces in brown kind of going upwards towards the tree, and then the reversed green ones as well. And I don't know, those are actually really nice looking tree builds. If I ever get a hold of a bunch of those pieces, I could see myself using that in some build. All in all, this is just a 48 by 48 stud great base plate build that has so much detail and great building techniques that it can rival a lot of the much bigger builds out there. So if you're pressed for space, you can see that you can just do so much on just a 48 by 48 base plate. All it takes is the right techniques. The final MOC we're going to look at this week is this Endor MOC by Dmaclego, and oh my god, I spent quite a bit of time talking about Brick Plumber's Endor MOC last week, and I really just had so much praise to heap on it. That thing was amazing, and like I said, to this day is still the most stunning Lego creation that I've ever seen in person. But if you compare it to this, even though Brick Plumber obviously had far more scenes from Endor in his was a much bigger MOC, but I think that if you compare the parts that Dmaclego put into this MOC to the corresponding elements that Brick Plumber had in his MOC, I think Dmaclego has him beat. It looks like every single part of this MOC was just so carefully constructed. It looks like he put so much care and time into designing each and every just individual element of this MOC, and they all combine to make something that is just absolutely beautiful. If I made a top 10 list of Lego Star Wars MOCs of all time, this would absolutely be on it. The first thing you'll notice is this giant platform, and oh my god, to put this thing in perspective, here's a picture of him sitting at the platform like a desk. Isn't that just absolutely ridiculous? I couldn't even imagine it would be like to see something like that in person. The other thing that impresses me so much about this platform is that it's almost entirely snot. I mean, look at it. There are hardly any studs in view, which is amazing. It's so hard to get a technique like that all throughout a giant and complex build like this, but he did it, and he did it in such a good way. Like, I am just thoroughly impressed by this build. I think Dmaclego, for me, is really always known for his ability to build snot all the way around the model. Like if you even look at the bottom of the platform, you can see that it's completely snot, but still very much so detailed. And I don't know, I'm just always impressed by the way he is able to just build these things so seamlessly. Whenever I show people this MOC, the first thing their eyes are drawn to is this little cone section at the bottom of the platform and how he just seamlessly designed it to use like those wedge plates to create the cones of various angles. And I mean, it's just incredible. Like if you gave me a week's time to try and design something like this, I don't know if I would ever converge on a design that looks this good, but he did it. And I don't know, this is just one of the coolest looking parts of the MOC. I don't know how he did it. He probably has some like reference pictures or like internal design pictures somewhere, but this thing just looks absolutely amazing. Another amazing part of this model are the trees. These have to be some of the best looking Lego trees that I have ever seen in my life. Like, oh my God, they're so huge. They utilize so many of those leaf pieces and they just come together to make very full, natural looking trees. Making trees, especially trees that are this large, is not an easy feat in Lego, and the shaping of it is always difficult for, I think, any builder to get down. But Dmaclego just does a phenomenal job at some of these back trees, and this is really going to be my template for designing Endor trees in the future. Like, I'm going to come to this picture and I'm going to try to recreate the aesthetic that he came up with as much as possible, because he just did such an amazing job at it. And how could I not talk about his AT-AT walker? This thing is just, I mean, words can't even describe just how accurate and amazing this thing looks. Of course, you'll notice that it is completely snot, and this is actually the model I looked at when trying to get some inspiration for my own AT-AT walker. And I mean, I just love this build so much. I mean, looking at this AT-AT right now makes me want to go and tinker around with mine, redesign mine to get it like just the overall shaping to look a little bit better. This guy did such an amazing job on this AT-AT walker. I might do a deeper look into this AT-AT in the future, because there's just so many different parts of this thing. Like, for example, the head can move, there's lights in it, the guns can also move. This guy can do some amazing things with electronics in his MOCs, so you guys should definitely stay tuned for a closer look at this AT-AT build. Most of you, when looking at this build, would probably look at that top right corner and say, oh look, he has the UCS Imperial shuttle on the platform, but that's actually not. That's his design. And that's his design before Lego even released the UCS shuttle. I believe they actually took his model as a general design template in order to make the Lego set, so that can just show you just how ahead of a time of a builder that this guy is. I don't think he's super well known in the community, but he definitely deserves a lot of recognition because all of his builds are just amazing. And about that Imperial shuttle, that's not just a static Imperial shuttle. I wish I could show the footage in this video from the Beyond the Brick interview that he did, but I want to actually link you guys to that video so you can go check it out there. But oh my God, this is just, I can't even describe how cool this is. But basically, that shuttle is motorized. He has it on a rig where it can actually like go up in the air, and the wings are motorized to go up and down. He also has motorized retractable landing gear in it, as well as the boarding ramp. So he can literally do so many things with this mod from a little control panel right behind it. If you guys don't really understand what I'm saying, just go ahead, watch that Beyond the Brick interview, look for the part of it where he shows off the motorized functions of that Imperial shuttle, and I guarantee you'll be blown away. It is easily one of the coolest things I have ever seen implemented in a Lego MOC. I cannot say enough good things about this MOC as a whole. All I'm telling you guys is just like, go check out the video that they did on this thing, because it is ridiculous. I can't even describe how awesome it was to see that. But I think the general point I'm trying to make is this: it's one thing to build big, and it's one thing to build with detail, but to combine both of those things and do both of them very well is really what I think makes a Lego Star Wars MOC very special, and he excels at it. Like I said, every single part of this MOC looks like there was so much thought put into it, and it definitely shows. And all of these huge, just amazing elements combine together to make just a stunning scene. Man, I wish I could see this thing in person. And that's gonna finish up this week for the Lego Star Wars MOC showcase. Let me know, what is your favorite MOC that I showcased in this video? I can't stress this enough, but guys, if you like any of the builds in this video, follow the links I included in the description or the pinned comment at the top of this video. Go support those guys. They obviously work really hard on these builds, and I wanna make sure they get the most recognition as possible. But that's gonna finish up the video, guys, and I'll be back again very soon.